Hello everybody and welcome to the Showcast, a series of candid conversations from the world of film, brought to you by The Film Verdict and hosted by yours truly, Matt Micucci. In this episode, we're back at the 2024 AVP Summit in Reggio Calabria, Italy, and speaking with DeVon Franklin, producer, founder and CEO of Franklin Entertainment, here to share insights and thoughts about the current state of the audiovisual industry amidst all kinds of cultural and technological changes. We also talk about Franklin Entertainment, the vision behind the company and the stories that he wants to tell, and discusses some of the major films that it has created and presented to the world. So fire up an audio teeny and listen to the audio waves as they fly through the air. This is the Showcast. Hi, DeVon. Welcome to the Showcast.
Hey, thank you for having me.
It's a real pleasure to have you. It really is. And, we're here at the AVP Summit, the Audiovisual Producers Summit in Reggio Calabria. I was born in Italy. I forgot to mention for the interview.
Wow.
But in the north, right? So I've never been here, and I'm just, it's a beautiful place, right?
That's unbelievable. You've never been here.
No, I've never, you know what? This is the most south I've been in Italy.
Amazing.
I grew up in Ireland, so it's not, it's a whole thing.
I
but
see.
Still.
So are you enjoying it?
I'm enjoying it. I hadn't even been in Italy proper in 2 years. So this is the first time that I'm kind of back in the country where I was born. Wow. I'm enjoying reconnecting. Although Reggio Calabria has a culture that's very distinctive, I feel, the whole region, I don't know if you've noticed that. How's it been so far? Like the place and the people here?
Amazing. I've had an amazing time and, got out into the town a little bit and it's just been magical, a really magical time. And people have been great.
And that sea is really something, right? That blue.
Beautiful. Oh, beautiful. Yeah. One of the most beautiful I've seen.
Well, it's such a pleasure to speak with you. I like to, before we get into the context of the summit and some of the work that you do, I'd like to just go back a little bit. I like to find out a little more about the people I speak with and break that proverbial ice by just asking a very simple question.
Sure.
I'd like to ask you something. Now, the theme that I've been going with for this summit is stories, we all love stories. We all grow up with stories and everything. But is there a moment in your life that you distinctly remember from maybe early in life or your childhood, awakening to the power of storytelling? And that maybe, when you think back to it, you realize it's a moment that just kind of set you off on your path and led you to where you are today.
Yes, I'm very distinctly. My father died when I was 9 years old of a heart attack when he was 36. And I'm the middle child of 3 boys. And so my mother, didn't have money or the resources for therapy or anything like that. So going to church and watching movies and television became the therapy that I relied on to just process, the pain related to, his tragic death. And, it was stories like The Color Purple that just motivated me, and Rocky that inspired me, even stories like Back to the Future that I remember as a kid watching and just saying, wow, I want to be a part of this industry because, it's bringing so much hope to me and so much inspiration that's what I want to do. So those were some of the early stories. There were some of the stories early on that completely shaped my thinking and probably are the reason why I chose to pursue a career in Hollywood.
Because as you were admiring these works, from what you said, you kind of started to see yourself becoming a part of that world that brought those to life. When did that actually start happening for you?
Let's see. I went to Los Angeles in 18, went to college there, went to the University of Southern California. I had a business major, film minor, and I was so passionate about film. I got an internship that freshman year working for the company that managed Will Smith. And I ended up interning, for Will's companies throughout my entire college career. And then when I graduated, I became an assistant to his producing partner. And my passion for film was, from day one, I was like, okay, as soon as I get to LA, I want to know about this business, and getting that internship and then becoming an assistant. And then I left there to become a junior executive in development for a producer named Tracy Edmonds. And then I left there to become an executive at MGM. And then MGM got sold to Sony Pictures Entertainment at that time. And then I became an executive for Sony Pictures Entertainment, worked on everything from Pursuit of Happiness to 21 to the Karate Kid remake to Heaven is for Real. So, the passion and the mission that I had as a young kid was something that, thankfully, not only did I pursue, but I was allowed the opportunity to become successful at it.
Gotcha. And you mentioned the pursuit of happiness. Obviously, around these parts, it's particularly well known. Muccino, yeah, that's right.
Gabriele.
Boy, an Italian filmmaker.
Oh, he's amazing. He's a genius. He's brilliant. I love him dearly.
Just in terms of that initial impact with this world, what was that like? Was it everything you expected and more?
It was even more welcoming than I thought it would be. My experience in entertainment has been phenomenal. It's been amazing. I've met some of the best people that I've ever met. I've met some of my closest friends in this business. I've made some incredible projects and stories that I'm really proud of. And it's been an amazing experience. I really love the entertainment business, and every business has its quirks and its ups and downs. But by and large, my experience in this business has been incredible.
Gotcha. I would also love to ask you about Franklin Entertainment.
Yeah.
You started that in 2014,
yes,
is it?
10 years ago.
So what was the vision behind it, and what's the story behind it?
Yeah, the vision was I've always wanted to make. So before I even came to Hollywood, my number one goal was to be a producer and to run my own production company. And at 22, when I graduated college, I did a business plan for my production company. And then 14 years later was when I finally had the opportunity to start the company. I had overseen a movie for Sony called Heaven is for Real, and that movie was very successful. And that gave me the opportunity to then launch my own production company, Franklin Entertainment. And the first movie that I made was a movie called Miracles from Heaven with Jennifer Garner and Queen Latifah and Eugenio Derbez. And then I did an animated film called The Star with Zachary Levi and Gina Rodriguez and Tyler Perry and Oprah and Kelly Clarkson and so many other great voices, Mariah Carey. And then I did a film called Breakthrough that starred Chrissy Metz and Topher Grace. And then I recently did a film called Flamin' Hot about the creator of Flamin' Hot Cheetos that stars Jesse Garcia, Annie Gonzalez, and that's directed by Eva Longoria. So it's amazing to be able to have had the vision and the plan and just stay committed to seeing it all come to pass.
If we look at, where the film industry or the audiovisual sector at large was in 2014, in these past few years, so much has changed, especially since the pandemic, I feel like, I'm talking about culturally how audiovisual content is consumed, but also how it's brought to life technologically speaking. So much has changed. Has that had an impact, or have you had to keep up with everything as well in that sense?
Yeah, it's kind of a yes and no. I always keep up with what's going on in the business, just the trends and the new things that we have to just be aware of, because I love the business. I love entertainment. So I'm always going to stay abreast of what I need to know. And with that being said, I think there is a temptation to overly focus on factors that are out of our control and not focus on what is within our control, which is the ability to make stories. So my point of view is I'm going to listen and see what's going on in the business, but I'm never going to let that deter me from the stories that I feel like I'm called to make. Audiences around the world, I would argue, are consuming stories at a historic rate when you look at the impact of streaming. So there's no evidence that audiences don't want stories. There's actually evidence to the contrary. Now, how they consume their stories and what way, that may continue to change and evolve, but that is not my concern. My concern is to make the story, get the story, find the story, get it produced, get it out there as best I can. And that part of the business always remains the same.
Right. So it sounds like in your vision of filmmaking, the story remains at the center, right?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. The story is, like you said, we're in Reggio Calabria right now. We're in Italy, and, I don't speak Italian, and some people here don't speak English, but we all speak story.
A lot of people, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know, but it's okay. It's okay. But we all speak story.
Yeah.
Story is our common language, and story unites us all.
That's such a great point. Yeah, it does. That is the charm of stories. It's also about communication, I feel, right?
For sure. Without a doubt. You got that right. It's a story, is a form of communication that has been around as long as we have been, a human race. So
the reason why I've been bringing it up, of course, is because, it seems like some people are positive about the future, but then there's a lot of fear, concern about the future as well. Let's take the Hollywood system, for example. You know, a lot of people are kind of predicting that it'll crumble, or, you know, or bad things are about to happen. Whereas others are kind of more optimistic about it. They actually are seeing that, you know, with the new technologies and everything, all the different changes, it can actually open up new avenues for telling stories and from bringing them to the people. I mean, so it sounds like you're positive about the future, the potential of that future.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I remain wildly optimistic about the future. Because again, the commodity that we are selling is a story. And I've never seen people not want good stories. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Just never seen it. Now, again, maybe the way the business has been built to get those stories to a wide audience may continue to change and evolve, but it doesn't stop people from wanting the story. So as long as we have something that people want, there's always going to be a way to get it to them. And as long as there's a way to get it to them, then the business is going to survive and continue to thrive on some level.
Yeah. I'd like to go back to Franklin Entertainment and just to ask you, is there anything that you're currently working on that you're excited to talk to us about and that we can look forward to?
Yes. I have 2 movies that I'm preparing right now. One is a romantic comedy for Amazon called Relationship Goals, and is based upon a New York Times bestselling book, a #1 New York Times bestselling book of the same name by author Michael Todd. And that is really, it's kind of like a faith-based romantic comedy. And then I have another film that I'm producing with Tyler Perry. We're producing the movie for Netflix, and it's called R&B. It is a modern retelling of one of the most famous love stories in the Bible, the story of Ruth and Boaz. And so that movie is kind of like, it's kind of like The Notebook. You know, it's a romantic drama that we believe is going to bring love stories back.
Amazing. Well, I'm looking forward to that. Now, another thing that I've been kind of ending these conversations with, and again, it's been another theme instead of just cold closing everything, you know, I want to find out, because this is, you know, a summit about audiovisual production and all that, but I'm also curious about the consumption of audiovisual. You know, what people are consuming, what people are watching, the people making films are watching themselves, because I think that, you know, life has a way of getting us down sometimes. And one of the ways in which we counter that is by watching films. We talked about the power of stories, and they definitely can lift up our spirits. And a lot of people, that's what they do. They put on something that makes them feel better. I like to say comfort view. And now I just wanted to ask you, whether there's something that you kind of like to escape into right now, or constantly, or throughout your life, have just kind of gone back to in terms of audiovisual. It can be a film, it can be nonfiction or fiction, sports, anything, because it's all audiovisual, right? So
no, I'm a huge NBA basketball fan. So that is my go-to. I have, I watch all the games, as many games as I can. I'm a Golden State Warriors fan, Steph Curry fan. And so I'm watching the games as much as I can. And then now we're in the NBA finals. And so I'm trying to catch those games. I couldn't watch the game 2 of the finals because I've been here, and for whatever reason, they didn't have it on
over here.
No, it wasn't on the TV.
Sports here, watching sports of all kinds is such a huge problem in Italy. Everyone is fighting for different rights. They carry it on just crazy streamings. You don't even find out until after the fact.
I couldn't believe it. I thought it was going to be on Sky Sports, but then I couldn't find Sky Sports. Anyway, but basketball is my stress reliever to watch. I love that. And then I love going to the movies. You know, I try to stay up on all the new movies that come out and just go at least once a week. And that, I love doing that.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a great pleasure. Well, I hope you enjoyed this conversation from the Audiovisual Producers Summit of 2024, taking place in Reggio Calabria, Italy. And let me take this opportunity to remind you that there's plenty more great podcast conversations with film industry professionals, audiovisual professionals, and creatives from all over the world that you can discover over at filmverdictnetwork.com, whether you work in the audiovisual industry or would like to find out more about it. And to make sure you never miss an episode, you can look for us by entering TFV Network and following us wherever you get your podcasts from. Till the next time, from the Film Verdict, this is Matt Micucci signing off. See you soon.